score test B. You are ready to begin the tests. Okay. Fine. Fine. Một sai lầm lúc 2 giờ anh đưa cơn đau này đi chôn giấu. Nhìn ai giờ lúc 2 giờ anh. Take notes. A whiteboard and pen is provided for the live test. Live test. Live. Hay live. We recommend a headset as they're used in the live test, but these are not essential for this test. 45 thôi. We recommend a QWERTY keyboard as these are used in a live test, but this is not essential for this test. We're gonna đọc là live là live. Mình nghe đọc là live vì
We recommend a QWERTY keyboard as these are used in the live test.
live.
But
đúng rồi, live làm gì nữa? Choose a quiet location where you won't get interrupted. Ensure strong and consistent Wi-Fi connection. Trời ơi, cần phải có giấy nháp hả? Giấy nháp. Ok. Rồi, có. This one. Đây, mình có một cái giấy nháp cho phần retail lecture. Just okay, next one. Chrome. Check. Make sure your microphone is on. When you are ready, click on the rectangle button. You must check your microphone before clicking next and continuing with the test. Make sure your microphone is on. When you are ready, click on the rectangle button and say the... Really? You must check your microphone before clicking next and continuing with the test. Make sure your microphone is on. When you are ready, click on the rectangle button. Make sure your microphone is on. When you are ready, click on the rectangle button and say the man felt poorly, so he decided to take some medicine and go to bed. Make sure your microphone is on. When you are ready, click on the rectangle button and say the man felt poorly, so he decided to take some medicine and go to bed. Acceptable, huh? Okay, next one. This test is approximately 2 hours long. Okay, speaking, writing 58 minutes, 36 minutes, 33 minutes, 3-man parts or sections. Okay. Personal introduction, 1 minute. Read aloud. Mấy cái này thì biết rồi, nhưng mà this one. Please introduce yourself. For example, you could talk about one or more of the following. Hello, my name is Hoàng Anh Thư and I'm 26 years old. I like reading books and listening to music when I have free time. And in the future, I want to study in New Zealand because I want to study abroad in New Zealand. This is also the reason. Hello, my name is Hoàng Anh Thư and I'm 26 years old. And in the future, I have a plans to study in New Zealand. And the reason why I want to study abroad in New Zealand is because this country is really beautiful and the people is really friendly and really kind and nice. And when I have free time, I like reading books and listening to music. And this is also the reason why I chose Pearson test of English. Okay, next one. Extroverts tend to move quickly and try to influence situations directly, while introverts give themselves time to develop their insights before exposing them to the world. Extroverts are happy making decisions in the thick of events, while introverts want to reflect before taking action. Extroverts tend to move quickly and try to influence situations directly. Extroverts tend to Extroverts tend to move quickly and try to influence situations directly, while introverts give themselves time to develop their insights before exposing them to the world. Extroverts are happy making decisions in the thick of events, while introverts want to reflect before taking action. The purpose of the informative speech is to provide interesting, useful, and unique information to your audience. By dedicating yourself to the goals of providing information and appealing to your audience, you can take a positive step toward succeeding in your efforts as an informative speaker. The purpose of the information speech is to provide interesting, useful, and the purpose of the informative speech is to provide interesting, useful, and unique information to your audience. By dedicating yourself to the goals of providing information and appealing to your audience, you can take a positive step towards succeeding in your efforts as an informative speaker. Most of us spend on average 1,800 hours per year in our jobs, and we will work for about 40 years before retirement. When you consider the amount of time spent in the office, you soon realize how important it is to feel as a sense of achievement at the end of the day, rather than just meeting financial objectives. Dễ nhỉ? Cho này dễ quá, đến lúc repeat sentence siêu khó. Most of us spend on average 1,800 hours per year in our jobs, and will work for about 40 years before retirement. When you consider the amount of time spent in the office, you soon realize how important it is to feel a sense of achievement at the end of the day, rather than just meeting financial objectives. Quite obviously, a significant rise in the number of the people in a given area or country will affect the demand for a whole host of goods and services. Note that a change in the structure of the population will increase the demand for some goods but reduce the demand for others. Quite obviously, a significant rise in the number of the people in a given area Quite obviously, a significant rise in the number of people in a given area or country will affect the demand for a whole host of goods and services. Note that a change in the structure of the population will increase the demand for some goods but reduce the demand for others. With a population of only just over 30 million living in the world's second largest country, Canada is just renowned for vast tracts of wilderness untroubled by population, either from industry or from intensive farming methods. A major conservation issue is the battle to stop the logging of virgin forest in the northern Ontario and on the west coast. Is the battle to stop the logging of virgin forest with a population of only just over 30 million living in the world's second largest country. Canada is just renowned for vast tracts of wilderness untroubled by population, either from industry or from intensive farming methods. A major conservation issue is the battle to stop the logging of virgin forests in the northern Ontario and on the west coast. Yet this landscape, which appears so alien and confronting to the white settler and explorer, had been home for thousands of years to endangered Australians for whom the plains rangers and deserts were sustaining spiritual and integral part of their existence. Khó rồi. Yes, this landscape which appears so Yet this landscape, which appears so alien and confronting to the white settler and explorer, had been home for 1,000 years to ingenious Australians for whom the plains, ranges, the deserts were a sustaining, spiritual and integral part of their existence. The interludes which break up the gameplay action, and which, because they can make to a higher level of animation, often provides the most visually attracting sequences of a game, combined with a taste for bizarrely complicated recursive plots and long sequences or woody dialogue. This turns the games into a bit of a drag. The interlude which break up the gameplay action, and which, because they can be made to a higher level of animation, often provide the most visually attracting sequences of a game, combined with a taste for bizarrely complicated, recursive plots and long sequences of wordly extravagantly dialogue. This turns the game into a bit of a drag.
The elephant is the largest living land mammal.
The elephant is the living largest land mammal.
There are lots of opportunities to meet new people in this course.
There are a lot of opportunities for you to make friends in this course.
The computer crashed and I hadn't saved my work.
The computer crashed and I cannot save my work.
You must include your name and identity number on the registration form.
You must fill your name and identity number on your register form.
The main issue is to decide how we want to launch the new product.
The main issue is to decide and how we launch our products.
This paper is the best one to look at first.
Their paper is the last one to look at first.
What's going on that can help patients leave their fears at the door?
What's going on is to look at the best fears together.
Inflation rose by 2% over this time last year.
The inflation rate of the last time was 2 last year.
Applicants for the course should preferably have a degree in English or journalism.
Applicant for this course is to have a degree in English or journalism.
After 1830, periodicals appeared in large numbers in America.
After 1830, chocolate being the largest industry of the America.
Soil erosion can be caused by increased rainfall and changes in plant growth.
A soil reason can be planted in the erosion and the agriculture plant. Con quế kìa. Gì? The image describes about the volunteers who incurred expenses, reimbursement available. It also provides information about the topic in different categories. The image describes about the volunteers who incurred expenses, reimbursement available. It also provides information about the topic in different categories, including postage, phone calls, meals, training, travel costs, uniform, and others. It clears from the image that the postage is the highest with nearly 40% and the lowest belong to uniform. After analyzing this image, it can be concluded that there are some important facts and figures about the volunteers who incur expenses. The image describes about the education pace. It also provides information about the topic in different categories, including on the left side, it's about median weekly earnings in 2007 by Lula's. The image describes about the education pace. It also provides information about the topic in different categories, including doctoral degree, master degrees, bachelor degrees, and associate degrees. It's clear from the image that some figures are the highest belongs to doctoral degrees with nearly $100, and the lowest belong to associate degree. And after analyzing this image, it can be concluded that there are some important facts and figures about the education pace. The image describes about a comparison of the fundamental needs model with Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. It also provides information about a topic in different categories, including status, esteem needs, stimulation needs, security needs, and the image describes about the comparison of fundamental needs models with Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. It also provides information about a topic in different categories, including status, esteem needs, stimulation needs, and security needs. It's clear from the image that the highest of the abilities is self-actualization needs, creativity, and fulfillment, and the lowest belong to psychological needs like food, water, shelter, or warmth. After now analyzing this image, it can be concluded that there are important facts and figures about a comparison of the fundamental needs model.
Coming out of the 19th century with all that happened, and so quickly, some of these ideas, some of these theories, like thermodynamics and kinetic theory, they didn't blend the way they should have. Thermodynamics has its roots in matter, how material things respond to heat and temperature and so forth. The laws of thermodynamics were thought to be absolute. Now take kinetic theory. If matter consists of atoms in random motion, and that's what matter is, then you open up the possibility that there will be fluctuations in samples of matter such that the laws of thermodynamics can momentarily be violated. Are the laws of thermodynamics valid? Absolute? Are they obeyed statistically? On average, they're obeyed, but they can be violated during unusual times, all right?
The lecture discusses about the importance of 19th century of what happened, and it also provides information about the they get the plan as they should have. And the speaker also clearly mentioned that the heat, temperature, and so forth is as a theory, and he said that we can open up a possibility. And finally, the lecture concludes that on average they obey, but they violate.
What is the term for the money people pay to the government to support public services?
Funding, money, taxes.
What material is normally used to make windows and light bulbs?
Glasses. Iron.
Who prepares and sells medicine in a shop or hospital?
Pharmacy, doctor, nurse.
Where on a college campus would a periodicals collection be located?
University, campus, base camp, CBS.
What is the inedible center of a peach, cherry, or grape called?
Sour, salt, tasty, sweet, sour, sweet.
To find a detailed topographical map of Africa, what kind of reference book would be best to use?
The map, the atlas, the compass, or the geography book. Summarize. Số cái này nó dễ rồi. Lifestyle choice. Nó dễ hơn hẳn cái đề mình đi thi luôn đó má. Because I before tôi không thể thôi nhỉ. Xong rồi what's là đủ rồi. Trời ơi, the importance of which was always debatable but now has become more controversial. It can be agreed that it can be on the other hand, some people say that There is a lower hand. This essay will be both. Nhầm. Thus leading to a conclusion. Positive and negative. Đây này. Firstly, there are many reasons why, but the most important thing is that, for example, for example, believe that. Đây để còn nghe tôi nói gì chứ, đúng không? For example, it believe that it benefits almost every sphere of life. Thus, it is a crucial factor in the current situation. However, there are many reasons why không đeo mic nữa luôn, vừa phát phone lần tí đeo. For instance, trong một bài reading thôi được không? Writing thôi được không? People in these practices can worsen their life. Đúng rồi, their lives to a certain extent, certain degree, nhầm. Therefore, it has various drawbacks that have to be overlooked. It has many drawbacks that have to be overlooked. It's clear that the topic and can be concluded that that some people think this notion have some facts then it's clear that it is supervised information about a topic in different ways. It can be concluded that some people think. ba phút, trong khi thời gian thực tế chỉ có 27 phút thôi. Prepare you for hợp lý rồi. liệt theo hay sao ấy, câu hình như liệt theo ấy. Đùa tao. Staring at hả? Nó là staring at mới đúng. Nó cứ đúng hết đấy. Dễ dữ mày. R2 thật nè. Isin thật nè. này làm rồi đấy các bạn. Endeavor, what the fuck? Center more attention on á, quá đáng vậy. What the fuck lâu nhỉ? Really? Khó mày. Bài order hơi khó nhưng mà. Remain constant thì tao không hiểu được. Thực hiện được thực hiện nên conducted chứ. Re-explore, okay. gì? Trời khó dữ vậy. Nó cho cái kia rất dễ nhá, xong nó chuyển qua cái phần thằng này thì khó này. cái đó mình biết làm đó. Mãi làm rồi. Short interview gì đây?
For many people, language acquisition starts at around about 12 months when kids say their first word, but don't forget the first year. That first year of life is very important as well, and indeed before you're born, remember, there are a couple of months before you're born when you're actually able to perceive in the womb something of the language that's around you. So language acquisition starts earlier than most people think. And it also ends later than most people think. When does child language acquisition stop? Well, in a sense, you know, we're all children. We stay being children all our lives. There's no obvious end point. For learning sounds, of course, there is, and for learning grammar, there is. But vocabulary, I mean, that goes on for the rest of our lives. 1 million or more words in English, and most of us only have a vocabulary of 50, 60, 70,000 words or whatever it is. And so there's always something more to learn. So remember that the two ends of child language acquisition are wider apart than some people think. And that means there's more scope for studying it than most people think.
In his book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales.
Experimental psychological research is conducted in a lab under controlled conditions. It attempts to rely solely on an application of research methods to understand behavior and mental processes. As an example of a psychological experiment, you might want to investigate people's perception of different tones. Specifically, you could ask the following question. Is it easier for people to discriminate one pair of tones from another depending on their frequency? To answer this, you would want to disprove the hypothesis that all tones are equally easy to discriminate.
Graham Greene may have inadvertently supplied one of the key phrases of the past 50 years in the title of his novel, A Burnt-Out Case. The image of a dead fire perfectly fit the psychological aftermath of long hours, dashed hopes, and depression. And while burnout is not a medical diagnosis, it describes a condition we all recognize, except perhaps in ourselves.
Pearson thì tất nhiên là tôi biết rồi.
Well, the banana is the first cultivated fruit. It's one of the food items that literally brought people out of the jungle, out of their hunter-gatherer lifestyles, and was there at the dawn of agriculture, which is what helped force human beings into communities. It's really one of the things that helped invent human culture. It's about 7,000 years of history. And the banana, from its center of origin, which is believed to be Papua New Guinea, it spread out with people who traveled in boats across the Pacific, into the mainland of Asia, and all the way south to Australia, across Indonesia, Micronesia, and eventually they moved as far as Africa, and even possibly to Ecuador, all in this time, and all on paddled boats and wind-driven boats.
Paddle lại. What the fuck? origin?
In the United States, the poet Walt Whitman published a work called Democratic Vistas. This was in 1871, and I quote from that work. He's talking here about the development of a program.
River systems can be classified by their basic shapes. Young streams are generally straight, are in narrow, steep-sided valleys, and are often fast-flowing in a channel with many big rocks. Young streams have high gradients, meaning the elevation of the stream changes quickly with distance. Old rivers are in broad, flat valleys. They flow slowly and carry sand and mud. Old streams, like the lower part of the Mississippi River, have very low gradients. That is, the elevation changes very little over long distances.
Over half of patients had what we called the no symptoms, no asthma health belief. They thought about and managed their asthma as an acute episodic illness, the way someone would treat a cold or a flu. They felt when they had their wheezing or shortness of breath, that's when they had their asthma, and it made perfect sense for them to use their quick relief medicines and their chronic controller medicines then. But once they started feeling better, they felt there was no reason for using those medicines because they felt okay.
It is absolutely vital that you acknowledge all your sources.
Viết lại câu của tôi thật là chuẩn nhé. It is absolutely vital that you acknowledge all of your sources.
In any written assignment, a detailed literature review is very important.
Viết lại này. At any written assignment, a data literature is very important. Và sau đó check xem là câu của tôi có nghĩa không. Cần phải thêm những từ nào thì câu này mới có nghĩa. At any written assignments, a data literature is very important.
Control systems in manufacturing provide a high level of accuracy.
Control system and manufacturing requires a high level of accuracy. Nối ghép ghép kia là khó thôi.
경제적인 위험을 무릅쓰고